Hello, my lovely inkblots, and welcome back to my channel. Also, if you're new here, hi, my name is Ash, and I am an author, amongst other things. I've had to record this video twice because for some reason I am having audio issues. So, if some parts of this video sound a little wonky, I'm sorry, I will try to edit them out. Hopefully between the two takes I will have enough usable footage because I do not want to re-record this again. Anyway, as some of you may know, I recently went through a long hiatus that was completely unexpected. I had a lot going on between family emergencies and keeping up with school and trying to figure out my creative path. Before I knew it, I was super burnt out. Over the hiatus, I ended up going back to therapy, and I'm working on finding ways to combat or relieve my burnout, and today I wanted to share some things that I've learned over the past year when it comes to burnout. While I don't have everything figured out, these are things I have noticed and would like to keep in mind personally. Hopefully this will be helpful to other creative people too. Without further ado, here's what I learned. So, as it turns out, there are different kinds of rest. I actually learned about this when I was scrolling through YouTube right after a therapy session where I vented to my therapist about how bad my burnout was hitting me, especially with school. I stumbled upon Haley Honeyman's video titled How to Actually Rest If You Have ADHD and decided to give it a watch even though I don't have ADHD. Honestly, it was a very helpful video for me, and it shared some really interesting information and showed me a perspective that I haven't thought about before. In her video, Honeyman describes how there are different kinds of rest: physical, mental, emotional, sensory, creative, social, and spiritual. I won't go into detail about all of them. If you want full details, go watch the original video. But I realized right away that when I was feeling burnt out, I was immediately falling back on physical rest when that may not have been what I needed. In this case, I learned that it was really important and helpful to recognize my needs and act on them, rather than just avoiding working on anything because I was burnt out with something else. Even taking a break from a current project to work on something else that will recharge your creative battery can be counted as rest, which is something I plan on doing more often this year. But this does lead to the next thing that I learned. It's okay to take a break, or do nothing, or do something else. This is something I really need to work on, and I think it's part of the reason why I got so burnt out with creative writing specifically. Over the past year, I had a hard time allowing myself to indulge in side projects or even just not doing anything for a while. There are a few reasons for this. For some reason, I feel like I'm still not done with my last writing project, The Rise of the Dragon Queen, even though I finished it a little over a year ago and have decided I want to wait before I try publishing it, but this feeling has kept me from wholeheartedly throwing myself into other projects. On top of that, my self-esteem dips when I don't do anything that I see as helpful or productive, which is something that I think a lot of you watching this can probably relate to. I started making easy-to-follow to-do lists, which let me look back at everything I've done over the course of the day in order to combat the little voice in my head that would tell me I wasn't doing enough. So far, that's been working pretty well for me. Overall, your worth is not determined by how productive you are, and if you're feeling particularly excited about a project, just go for it. Recharge your creative batteries. The next thing I learned is that you should find your workflow first, and then consistency will come. This has actually been an interesting topic for me to explore, especially when I was making as much content as I could back in early 2023. A lot of YouTubers and content creators will tell you to be consistent, but I would argue that producing content at your own pace for a while and seeing what consistency looks like to you is more important. In my case, I got burnt out on making videos very quickly because I was trying to upload at a consistent schedule that I could not keep up with. I tried batching content, but it wasn't working out for me because batching meant that I was spending an entire day throwing together videos, working on graphics, and getting clips from my live streams on top of trying to manage everything else. I didn't take the time to figure out what my own workflow is like and what a comfortable pace for content creation is to me. Eventually, you will need to be consistent with your stuff, but when you're just starting out like me, it's best to figure out what kind of schedule works for you rather than adhering to what other people say. Consistency will come later. Don't burn yourself out before you reach it. The final thing that I have learned is that taking a break is better than being absent for a year. This one's probably obvious, but I can't even begin to tell you how devastating looking back at the last year has been for me. I haven't really written anything substantial since November of 2022, And while I streamed here and there and made videos, I failed at overall consistency. While this has to do with the workflow issue I already mentioned, there is more to it. It's been really weird coming back to spaces that I used to frequent and finding out how much things have changed or moved on without me. If I could go back and do one thing differently, I would have taken more breaks and done more to refill my creative batteries. It would have been a lot better than just disappearing this whole time. And it's a lot easier to recharge your batteries if they are low, rather than when they are completely empty. Anyway, that is all that I have to share about what I learned about burnout over the past year. Thank you for watching this, and if any of this resonated with you, please leave a comment and let's chat about it. Also, don't forget to give yourself some grace and affection. You deserve it, and you deserve to take care of yourself. Here's to hoping that we'll all be back to our usual creative selves soon. Bye!